Hello. Hi everyone. Especially hello to Fleece. Thank you for the raid. And welcome to all the raiders.
Oh boy.
So for those of you who haven't been to one of these before, I've been reading this series called Umineko no Naku Koro, which is a very, very long mystery thriller murder mystery novel. There's some stuff in this that you should be aware of, and so I'm just making this content warning show up so that you know what you're going to be in for if you stick around. So keep that in mind. It's there's no visuals for any of this stuff, but there's pretty detailed descriptions, and if you're not if any of that makes you uncomfortable, then put yourself first and go find something. Just go and look after yourself first and foremost, and yeah, this stuff gets kind of rough. However, today's episode should be fine. Last time we had it was mostly romance. So for today's episode, I don't expect to see a lot of gore or blood or anything like that. But if you're in here for the long haul, it helps to be aware of stuff like that. Let me just pop on my sound, because it's not on right now. It should be. There we go. I don't even know where to start in terms of recapping this. We're following a family of about I think it's 14 members and some of their servants. The family's pretty wealthy. One of them, the sort of, in Dutch there's different words for this. One of the core families, like the nuclear families, lives on an island with the head of the family. And every year the family meets up on this island for a conference. They talk about business, all their personal life and stuff, and they just catch up. In the first game during this conference, a typhoon happened that cut everyone off from the outside world, and people started dying. And by dying, I mean gruesomely murdered. And people kept saying, oh, the witch did it. The witch who lives on this island in the forest, and who gave the head of the family 10 tons of gold, which is a ridiculous amount of money. She's here to get the gold back and our lives along with it. That's what people kept saying. And our protagonist was like, bullshit, I don't believe in any of that. And at the end, the witch showed up. Is she real? Is she actually some sort of figment or illusion? We don't know yet. And she challenged the protagonist to a duel of sorts. Prove that a witch didn't do it, and I'll accept it. And meanwhile, I will try to prove that I did all these crimes with magic. And then we start the second episode, and it's just romance talk so far. One of the family members has fallen in love with one of the servants, and it's considered not super cool to be doing that, because he has to marry someone of higher standing, and someone appropriate. And there's been some drama about that. They went on a date last episode. It was very cute. And now the servant is talking to one of the other family members about the date. And that's where we're gonna start. I hope all that made sense. It's a lot to get through. What? What do you mean separate rooms? So wait, you and George Nissan stayed in different rooms on purpose? Is it really so strange? Jessica's cheeks had been stuffed with a chocolate-coated chinsuko biscuit that Shannon had brought as a present from Okinawa. And it all came flying out at Shannon when Jessica cried out. Shannon, why did you even go on a trip to Okinawa? You were even alone with George Nissan. Well, he said there was a huge aquarium in Okinawa and invited me to go. And I like fish and stuff. Me too. No, that's not the point. We're talking about a healthy guy and girl going on an overnight trip, right? And you're saying there weren't even any hugs and kisses? And seriously, what's up with the guy and girl staying in different rooms? As for kisses, no comment. But we did hug. George-san's chest was warm. That's not the point. Jeez. Why do couples like this exist? Jeez. I can't take it anymore. From Shannon's point of view, it was an incredibly happy trip for various reasons. But it looked like Jessica found their pace to be pretty irritating. For a while, Jessica chewed her present, complaining about romance and pretending to faint in agony on her bed. Shannon and George had chosen to go to Okinawa because there was a huge aquarium there. They did this because an aquarium had given them the opportunity to start going out. Since their relationship had started at an aquarium, having their first overnight trip also be to an aquarium must have held some commemorative value. That's like a huge commemorative turning point, and your first overnight trip. How could you not make all kinds of progress there? But instead, you both got separate rooms? A couple taking 2 single rooms? Geez, seriously, what's wrong with you? But we are both unmarried. George-san says showing restraint is good manners for a couple. Like I said, the whole point of this overnight trip was so you could overcome that stage, right? You should be way beyond just kissing and hugging by now. Milady, I don't know what you mean by that, but George-sama was a real gentleman with me until the end. That is, I mean, I also wondered if those things would happen, you know. But even though we are going out, I mean, it's not like we're married or anything. These things you seem to be expecting should only be done after making a vow before God. And Shannon's face got bright red. She made a circle with both hands, restlessly intertwining, separating and making heart marks with them. Apparently, the dramatic progress Jessica had looked forward to hadn't happened, but it seemed to have been a very important experience for Shannon in her own way. In the end, whether Jessica was jealous of Shannon or made fun of her, it didn't change the fact that Shannon had a huge lead on her. I want a boyfriend too. I can't believe you got ahead of me. Even though we promised that we'd find boyfriends at the same time, you beat me. Ugh. You're a wonderful person, milady, so I'm sure you'll find someone wonderful much quicker than me. Don't try to console me. Shannon, you traitor, get out, shut up. Jessica threw several cushions at her. But midway, she had an asthma attack and started to choke pretty badly. Shannon hurriedly ran over to a nearby side table and started searching around on top of it. A cute basket was placed there, and inside of it was Jessica's bronchodilator. Shannon picked it up and handed it over to Jessica. Jessica's asthma attacks always came suddenly. Because of that, she always needed to carry this medicine around. She breathed in the medicine and, after a while, managed to overcome her choking as her asthma finally settled down. Shannon thought this a good chance to leave and tried to exit the room after bowing courteously. As she did, one more small cushion came flying and hit Shannon on the head. She noticed that Jessica was on the verge of crying, half of her face buried in her last and favorite cushion. That face was red and meek. Milady? Shannon, be honest with me. Is my hairdo and stuff weird? What do you say? I think your hair is very beautiful. Then are my eyes strange, or maybe my nose? Is it the way I talk after all? Is that why I can't get a boyfriend? Of course not. My lady, you are wonderful enough as you are. And I think your charm will keep on increasing more and more from now on. But I'm the only one who can't find a boyfriend. Sakura and Hina managed to get boyfriends, but only I can't. Is it because I don't have any charm after all? You know, everyone says they'll bring their boyfriends to the cultural festival. And I was so sure I'd have a boyfriend before then, so I started bragging. There's no way I'll get a boyfriend. I'm the only one. Before she realized it, Jessica was shedding huge tears. Jessica didn't really feel like crying, and of course she felt like supporting Shannon's progress in love as a friend. However, as she had cheered Shannon on, her true feelings had suddenly gotten mixed in, and she couldn't help but shed tears. Shannon understood Jessica's innocent and easily injured heart. That the rough style of speech Jessica usually used was all just an attempt to protect that fragile heart. As a daughter and successor to the Ushiromiya family, and as a girl isolated on Mirokajima, the only person she could expose her true feelings to was Shannon. Shannon understood that. So, she strongly regretted acting smug, even if it was only a little. Sorry. I'm so weird crying like this. Sorry. You are a wonderful person, my lady. There's no way you won't find a wonderful man. Shannon, it's about time, right? If you don't go quickly, Genji-san and Mom will get mad. I'm just fine. Hurry up. Sorry for crying like this. I'm such a moron. Jessica faced away, acting as though she didn't really want to trouble Shannon, waving her hand as though chasing Shannon away. Shannon took that as a sign that Jessica didn't want to be bothered anymore, bowed her head, and left the room. When Shannon's footsteps disappeared into the distance, Jessica lay down on her bed, still hugging a cushion. Her expression was still a little meek, with tears in her eyes, but for the first time in a long time, she had a very, very quiet and honest conversation with her heart. I also want to fall in love. As Shannon happily watered the flower beds in the garden, she sensed someone's presence. She turned around, thinking that if one of the family had come to visit, she must greet them. But what she saw was that witch. Beatrice-sama. It's been quite some time. How are you? Has your relationship with the one you love progressed since we last met? As Beatrice sat on the rose arch, she happily blew on her pipe. Sitting in a place like that would crush the roses, and it might have been dangerous if the ark fell over, but this was a witch after all. Showing concern for her safety was probably a waste of time. Yes. Thanks to you, it's going smoothly. Naturally, the effects of my magic are immediate. Perhaps you feel your meeting was a predetermined fate. However, that is a mistake. Don't even think fate has anything to do with it. understand that. The witch was calling attention to something. Two things, actually. First, that Shannon's relationship with George was a fate that would be absolutely impossible under normal circumstances. Second, that the power of the witch was great enough to overturn that fact. Shannon had just gotten wrapped up in those sweet days, and had started believing the illusion that all fate revolved around her. But she remembered the witch's words. Originally, her relationship with George had been impossible. No, it might be impossible in the future as well. Sorry, please forgive me. It's just like doctors. You cling to them when you're worried about your health, but after you're healed, you forget to even thank them. I've never been thanked as a witch, so I couldn't help acting a little rudely. Forgive me. The gratitude I feel has never slipped my mind. It's thanks to your power that I was able to achieve happiness, Beatrice-sama. And without that power, the fate that brought me and George-sama together would never have happened. I have never forgotten that. Sorry. It's not like I came here to bully you. Being rude is just part of my personality. Do forgive me. More importantly, I heard. So you went on a trip alone with him. I imagine it must have been quite fun. Yes. It was very, fun. Shannon's face suddenly lit up. The witch laughed lightly, as though amused by the speed of that transformation. Already, the one you care for is more than the object of one-sided love. You're a pair of lovers now. When two people are filled with love, nothing else is needed to establish a complete world. Perhaps you could call that a wonderful, ideal world. Even witches would be jealous. Beatrice laughed pleasantly. That smile made her look as though she blessed the lovers' rendezvous from the bottom of her heart, without a trace of malice. After that day, Beatrice had shown herself before Shannon every once in a while. Even now, Shannon thought of her as an unsettling being. However, she was also indebted to this person for the magic that led to her current relationship with George. So, Shannon tried with all her might not to act surprised or scared. That's right. Beatrice-sama, I bought some sweets as a souvenir from our trip. Would you, like to try some too? Oh, a souvenir for a witch. It seemed that even a witch who boasted of living for 1,000 years hadn't imagined that she'd receive a souvenir from a sweet lover's trip. When she saw that surprised expression, Shannon thought of this witch as a friend for the first time. An Eastern cookie made from wheat flour and lard. To wrap that in Western chocolate is truly a blending of the Japanese and Western styles. The Silk Road of sweets. What? What's so funny? Nothing. My apologies. This witch, who surely held a terrifying power, was chomping down on sweets one after another, making a sound like a squirrel stuffing walnuts into its mouth. After a while, Shannon couldn't conceal her laughter. A good meal. I should serve you some dolce vita from Nero one of these days. Roses are the symbol of eternal love. I believe a rose dolce would be appropriate for you now. The witch was in a great mood, fully enjoying modern candy. Oh, here. I truly am grateful. I believe you've done more than enough for me already, so I'm returning this. The thing Shannon had softly set on the table was a gold-colored butterfly brooch. There's no need to return it. If you continue holding that, your relationship should remain firm in perpetuity. Maybe it was the power of magic that brought us together, but I think only the two of us working together can turn that into something that lasts forever. Love and roses are the same. Too much fertilizer causes the roots to rot. Some flowers cannot be raised without hard work. In that case, do as you wish. You may wear it, or keep it in a box. That is my goodwill, given to you. Having you return it to me won't please me at all. My apologies. That's not what I... No harm has been done. That brooch is already yours. If you treasure the proof of our friendship, it would indeed bring me some comfort. You may hold on to it and gain its benefits, or you may keep it in a box. If you wish, you may even give it to another who is worrying about love. Or you could simply treasure it. Of course, it would pain my heart if you wasted it. According to Beatrice, she had appeared several times in the past in response to a person's summons, to give them some tool imbued with magical power. However, when most people used that power to resolve their worries, they quickly grew unsettled by it, forgot their former gratitude, and threw away the tools they had been given with disgust. So it is quite rare for me to be thanked for my goodwill. In fact, this might even be the first time. The witch laughed heartily, but it looked like a sad laugh in Shannon's eyes. She herself had been like that in the past. No, maybe she was still like that now. Beatrice was definitely a witch with a strange and terrifying power. Most people probably wouldn't want to stick around her if they could help it. Surely even those who had relied on that strange power sometimes felt fear rather than gratitude as a result. It must have deeply hurt the witch to have that happen over and over. Since the time she had started thinking that way, Shannon had tried to stop being frightened of Beatrice. This was surely something that had tormented the witch for over 1,000 years. Maybe she really liked those sweets. Beatrice, who normally spoke abusively, praised the black tea that Shannon served her, and looked to be in remarkably high spirits. After doing that for a while, the witch and the servant grew animated in their discussion of the trip with George. The things Shannon actually knew about Beatrice were surprisingly few. First off, she was a ghost-like being who appeared in unexpected places at unexpected times, and it seemed that not everyone could perceive that she was there. Apparently, everyone has something called a wavelength, and the ability to perceive witches varies greatly among different people. Only Shannon and Kano could interact with her enough to exchange words like this. There were a few people who could sense her presence, but most people couldn't even feel that much. From what Beatrice said, Kraus and his wife in particular had zero magical talent, and no matter how much she followed them around, they would never notice her. Once earlier, when Shannon messed up and Natsuhi got really mad at her, Beatrice had started playing around, hitting Natsuhi on the head with her pipe. I see, Natsuhi really doesn't notice a thing, but Shannon, watching that, had burst out laughing without thinking and had gotten scolded even more. Then, what about the master? I hear he's been doing research in magic, so I'm sure he'll be able to notice you, Beatrice-sama. Kinzo is the same. He also has a pitiful lack of magical talent. It's the blood. He has so little talent that I pity him. As soon as they started talking about Kinzo, it felt like the atmosphere around Beatrice changed. She had spoken about Kraus and the rest's lack of magic talent, as though she looked down on them, but she spoke of Kinzo in a different way. Anyone connected to the Ushiromiya family would know about Kinzo's legend of the gold. According to that, Kinzo was given the gold after summoning the witch, Beatrice. In other words, she must have some kind of relationship with Kinzo. That was because he succeeded, despite having not even a scrap of talent. He kept studying by himself like mad and managed to become a magician. And that's something really incredible, right? Indeed. The witch, who usually looked down on people, was uncharacteristically offering her praise. While she lambasted him by saying he had no talent, she praised his efforts. And then the master summoned Beatrice-sama with the power of magic. Indeed. Well, I only answered the summons on a whim. After all, in this period where magic has long been denied, here was a man who was without a scrap of talent, yet so desperate to succeed. I thought I'd drop by and poke some fun at him. And that's when my luck ran out. Her choice of words highlighted how much of a disaster this had been for her. Shannon hesitated over whether it would be safe to continue this discussion, but Beatrice continued on her own, ignoring Shannon. After all, his contract did have a proper format and a set of rules. Various procedures were mixed up, but, well, in deference to his enthusiasm, I graciously accepted his contract. Then, I gave him a mountain of gold. And then, the master used that gold and succeeded in business, and grew his wealth into what it is today. Indeed, his talent in magic was minimal, but it seems he had a knack for business and gambling. Or perhaps it was due to the bravery and madness that led him to risk everything on unreasonable bets. Madness sometimes acts as magical power. I see, if you look at it that way, perhaps it isn't quite fair to say he was completely lacking in magical talent. Shannon felt like she was daydreaming. While everyone in the Ushiromiya family knew the story of how Kinzo idolized black magic, summoned a witch, and received the gold, in actuality it was all rambling that no one believed in. And now, Shannon was having this story confirmed by the witch herself. She felt a little flustered by this incredible secret that only she knew. Once Kinzo gained his vast fortune, he could realize every dream that can be satisfied by objects obtainable in the human world. And in the end, he searched for the truth of this world. The truth of this world? The single element that makes up the world. Kinzo, who had gained everything one can obtain in the human world, searched for that, the final desire humans seek. The single element. She seemed to remember the witch using that word before. When Beatrice saw Shannon trying to remember what that was, she laughed bitterly, waving her hand and saying there was no need to worry. I underestimated Kinzo just a tad. I truly didn't expect him to display such power. And thanks to that, I'm in this state. I've been sewn in place on this island for several decades now, without even a friend to drink tea with. No matter whom I try to talk to, my voice doesn't reach them, and no matter where I go, I cannot do anything. Such boring decades. As she laughed in self-derision, she tapped her teacup with her finger. It made the light sound of pottery. Shannon didn't know whether the word self-derision was really an accurate expression to describe the look on the witch's face. Shannon didn't understand everything, but she could more or less figure out the situation. And it was probably a topic that she couldn't press the witch on easily, not unless the witch started talking about it herself. To sum up everything she had said up until now, Beatrice, who had been summoned by Kinzo's magic, could not leave this island for some reason. And she had lost her power and her form, living her days in boredom. During that time, her words had reached Shannon, who never forgot to show sincere respect for the witch. And Shannon had helped the witch regain her power, if only a little bit. As a result, it was now possible for the witch to drink tea with Shannon like this. Beatrice-sama, what in the world was that mirror you told me to break? Ah, that. Long ago, it seems, various things happened on the islands around this area. Because of that, malignant forces gathered here and began to draw in an evil distortion. It seems a traveling Eastern magician or something built a shrine for the repose of souls and sealed them in there. That in itself has nothing to do with me, but unfortunately, that magical power rested on a different foundation than mine. It created a strong interference with my magic and was extremely bothersome. Is that how it was? And I assumed it existed only to seal you, Beatrice-sama. I was not its target, but it was a divine mirror. As a result, my power was sealed away. To use food as an example, maybe it would go something like this. Let's say the Western food I ordered is being made in the kitchen. However, when they try to set the table, the area for the guest seating is in the Japanese style with Japanese style dishes. So, the kitchen is unable to serve a plate that would be out of place, and no matter how long I wait, my Western food won't arrive. Something like that. So, you destroyed that Japanese style guest seating and returned the area to a blank slate for a time. Thanks to that, the meal I had ordered was finally delivered, and my power came back, you could say. However, so far, only the aperitif has arrived. It will still be quite some time before the main dish. As I am now, I'm even more fragile than a shoe store fairy. What's so amusing? Nothing. I just thought your metaphor was pretty funny. I never would have thought to use a story about food as a metaphor for magic. I thought it a rather skillful comparison, but I certainly didn't expect to be laughed at. I'm a bit offended. A slightly sulky expression rose to the witch's face. It wasn't a strange expression at all to be appearing on the face of some friends as they enjoyed their tea. Although I may not look it, I was known for doing extremely brutal things in the past. I've gotten soft. Now I can even have a foolish discussion while drinking tea with a human. She was probably talking to herself. As Beatrice gazed at the seabirds tracing the horizon, she put her tea to her lips again. The clouds have come out. When the ocean loses its brilliance, it's nothing more than a gray puddle. You think so? I think the ocean is a beautiful deep blue, even when it gets cloudy. Maybe the witch noticed the deep meaning behind Shannon's words. She laughed lightly and set down her empty teacup. It seems those things buried in your eyes aren't black pebbles anymore. How is it? Do you see how it feels for furniture to be reborn as a human? Yes. I never knew the world was this kind. Since the start of her relationship with George, Shannon's face had grown brighter more often. Her smile had made everything go smoothly and had even changed her fortune. Shannon made less mistakes in her work than she had before, and the family members' opinion of her was slowly starting to change. Just the other day, she had been surprised when Kraus, who rarely exchanged words with her, had suddenly started talking to her. You've been wearing a splendid smile more often lately, haven't you? Has something good happened? No, but every day is fun, yes. Wonderful. It goes without saying that coffee is more delicious when poured with a smile. Could I ask for that smile once more? Yes, sir. That had become a chance for Shannon to gain confidence in herself. Of course, it didn't go beyond her own heart, and it wasn't so big a change that anyone would notice. But she had begun to change, bit by bit. Shannon understood it clearly. Knowing love was the same as gaining a soul. The same as being reborn, from furniture into a human. There was absolutely nothing mistaken in Beatrice's words. By knowing love, Shannon had learned what it was to be human. These have been unusual snacks. It was time well spent. It's probably around time for you to return to your work. So let us end our tea party now. After all, it seems a certain person doesn't like seeing us drink tea together. Huh? The witch gripped a teaspoon and flipped it with her fingers, sending it up in the air. After that, it was launched by the fingers of some invisible person and flew straight into a nearby bush. The bush shook violently, and Kanon came out. It seemed he had been there for some time, watching their tea party. The spoon was gripped in his hand. If he hadn't caught it in an instant, it might have hit him hard in the forehead and caused him to start oozing blood. Do not worry. Our tea party is over now, Kanon. How long were you there? If you'd called to us, I'd have poured you some tea too. I imagined that you didn't want to interrupt a pair of women talking, right? Kanon kept silent, but there seemed to be a slightly hostile look in his eyes. On the outside, he acted with respect, but unlike Shannon, Kanon did not trust the witch. When Beatrice hit the table with her pipe, the tea set turned into gold butterflies, which flew upwards all at once. They then scattered in every direction, and the cleanup was already done. It was fun, Shannon. Let us meet again if the chance arises. My magical power is still quite lacking. It's tiring having to show myself. If you're that tired, never appear again. Kanon had said it in a small voice, but the witch seemed to have heard it perfectly. She giggled, but did not reply. Shannon, tell me more about George at our next tea party. There are no snacks sweeter than a person's love life. See you again. Beatrice's body also became gold butterflies, which scattered in all directions and disappeared. It was a fantastical and beautiful scene, like a blizzard of gold leaf. For a while, Shannon quietly watched the witch's exit. Kanon approached her from behind and spoke with an expression that was drastically different from hers. Nea-san, didn't I tell you to stay away from her? Beatrice-sama isn't that bad of a person. Yes, she might be a little shady, but the fact that only we can see her is suspicious enough. That thing isn't human. Who knows what she might be planning? Kanon-kun, I think that's a little rude. There was a touch of sternness in Shannon's voice, which was unusual for her. To Kanon, who knew her well, she must have sounded extremely stern. Kanon, looking excessively surprised considering Shannon's tone, fell silent. It's true that Beatrice-sama is different from humans. She has a terrifying power, so I think it's right for us to fear and respect her. Still, I think it's incredibly rude to just despise her because she isn't human. I understand what you're trying to say, Nea-san. You've changed ever since she gave you that brooch. It's like you're her prisoner. She brought you and George-sama together, and now you're indebted to her. Don't say things like that. That thing isn't human. We don't know what she's thinking, so you mustn't trust her. And we aren't humans either, Nea-san. Kanon's words grew more serious. Those words probably gouged at Shannon's heart. She bit her lower lip and hung her head. We are furniture. Even if we receive names and are treated as humans, that won't change the manner of our birth. You are no longer furniture. Those words Beatrice had given her, which had made her happiest, floated through Shannon's mind. I'm not furniture. No, you are furniture. We are less than human. Nea-san, you're just pretending to have forgotten. Pretending to be human. You know that as well as I do. I am not furniture. I'm human. You aren't. We've never possessed what it takes to love or be loved. Conan's criticism seemed to have shifted away from Shannon's meetings with the witch. Shannon picked up on that quickly. I heard from a lady. Seriously, what were you thinking? I can't believe you would go on a trip with George-sama. You've forgotten your place as furniture. You've just been tempted by that witch, mistakenly believing that you've become human. Listen, Kanon-kun. It's true that we're furniture. Lesser beings, inferior to humans. But if it were possible to make up for what we lack, wouldn't that be the same as becoming human? Such a thing could never happen. No, it could. If we can do that, we won't be furniture anymore. We can become human. Ridiculous. As if you could ever do such a thing. Kanon spat those words out, but did so weakly, and turned away. He was probably giving up. After all the suffering he'd undergone during those days he lived as furniture, his heart was firmly sealed. Hey Ned, welcome to the street. Gonna drink some water. Okay. You can do it too, Kanon-kun. You can become a normal human. Stop it. That's the witch talking. Yes. Beatrice-sama taught me. By obtaining the single element of this world, we can become human. Or rather, nobody's human if they don't have that. That's why people spend their entire lives trying to gain that single element. I don't understand what you're saying, Neizan. I don't want to listen to ranting. Then I'll teach it in a way even you can understand. Look, see what I'm pointing at? Shannon quietly pointed at the sea, towards the horizon. Kanon didn't understand what she meant, and couldn't do anything except look between the horizon and Shannon's expression, which seemed to be posing a riddle. The sea. Kanon-kun, what color does the sea look to you? It was an extremely simple question. For a while, Kanon tried to guess at the meaning behind it, but he couldn't think of anything, so he answered obediently. It's a hazy, dark gray color. So what? Objectively speaking, the sea, laid out beneath a cloudy sky, could probably be described best by Kanon's words. But as Shannon closed her eyes and smiled, she shook her head lightly. It looks deep blue to me. Is that what you mean? Like how Japanese people will use the word blue to refer to a green traffic light? No, the sea is deep blue. If I understand and you don't, then that's the difference between us. Kanon bit his lower lip and was silent for a while. I don't understand. Thank you, Vape, I will save. There you go. Kanon-kun, would you stick out your hand? As Kanon was taken aback, unable to understand what she was saying, she took his arm and opened the palm of his hand. Shannon softly said something there. It was that magic brooch which she had received from Beatrice. A magic charm, shaped like a gold butterfly, that could bring love to fruition. This is hers? No, this is mine. So, think of it as me and treat it with respect, okay? After being spoken to like that, he couldn't just throw it away. Kanon didn't know what he should do, and he stood there, confused for a while, the brooch still in the palm of his hand. Shannon put the palm of her hand on top of Kanon's, and the brooch was warmed by both of their hands. This charm holds true magical power. I'm sure it'll teach you an important emotion, Kanon. There's nothing to be learned from that person's magic. No, there is something. So wear it. If that's embarrassing, I hear it's okay if you just hide it in your pocket. Ridiculous. As if I let the magic of that person lead me astray. Even as he said that, Kanon couldn't be cold-hearted towards something Shannon was urging him to take. In the end, Kanon took it and agreed reluctantly, saying he'd prove that he wouldn't surrender to the witch's power. Shannon smiled and nodded back. I'm sure you'll be able to learn something important from it, and I'm sure you can become human. And when you do, I'm sure this ocean will look like a beautiful blue to you as well, Kanon-kun. Gray is gray no matter how many times you look. That's wrong, Kanon-kun. It only looks like that because you have no... Because of the howling wind, he hadn't been able to catch the main point of what she just said. So, Shannon said it once more. The single element of the world. She spoke once more of the world where it existed, where the sea was deep blue. I'm sure you'll be able to see a deep blue ocean too, after all. Without love, it cannot be seen. Who is that? It is Kanon, Master. It was rare for Kinzo to leave his study. However, the fact that he had didn't mean his noble research had been suspended. He may have left the study because of a change in mood, but that didn't mean the thoughts filling his head were any different from those he had while inside the study. Kanon knew that no matter what the time, speaking to Kinzo when he didn't want to be spoken to would always disturb his research. It's cloudy out here. Will it get worse? Yes. According to the weather report, it could rain at any time. Shall I bring an umbrella? It will not come to that. Leave me alone for a while. If my children ask, say that you do not know where I am. I am busy on a journey through my own thoughts. Certainly. Then, if you would excuse me. Before Kanon finished bowing, Kinzo had already returned to his own world, having forgotten Kanon's presence completely. And once again he began rambling to himself. Amidst those words, the name of that witch popped up many times. Ah, Beatrice. My hand will not reach your smile. What can I do to revive you? What can I do to make you smile at me once more? What is lacking? My research? My materials? My catalyst? Or is it magical power, or luck, or an oracle? Oh, Beatrice, what can I do to see your face one more time? As Kanon listened to his master's weeping voice, with his back turned, he turned around just once. When he did, right behind his isolated old master was the shadow of a person who shouldn't have been there. It was the witch. At once thinking that the witch must be plotting to do Kinzo some harm, Kanon dashed back to Kinzo and tried to form a shield with his body. But when he saw the expression on the witch's face, that emotion of his vanished. After all, Beatrice's expression was sorrowful. or maybe pitying. You fool, Kinzo. Can't you see me even though I am here? Right behind Kinzo, as he repeated the witch's name over and over, desiring to be reunited with her more than anything else, was the witch herself. And yet, Kinzo didn't notice anything. When Beatrice tried to rest her hand on his shoulder, he didn't notice. Why does my hand not reach Beatrice's smile? Is it the age of the moon? The cycle of the comets? The alignment of the planets? What is lacking? What is? It's useless, Kinzo. Without love, it cannot be seen. Kanon took the brooch he had received from Shannon out of his pocket. By learning something new, would he become able to glimpse something he couldn't see now? Without love, it cannot be seen. He looked at Kinzo's back once more. The witch could no longer be seen there. Alright, time for a break. I'm gonna switch over my screen for a sec. Good night, Ned. Take care. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, I'm gonna get some water and be right back, and then we'll continue reading. Alright. I have returned, and let's keep reading. The biggest fall event for the Ushinomiya family was the family conference in October. Excuse me, I hit the wrong button. There we go. But to Jessica, there was another major event that came before that. A school cultural festival. Jessica liked school. To her, it was a place where she could let out the stress she'd built up from the rigid lifestyle she was forced to lead at home. For today's cultural festival, she'd formed a group with her friends, and had announced that they'd perform some light music on a temporary stage. She had prepared and practiced for this over and over until today, always anxiously awaiting this day's arrival. But there was one thing that worried her. She looked at the clock. There was still a little time, but she felt uneasy. Would that person really come? After taking a single deep breath, her heart jumped when all her friends suddenly started speaking in shrill voices. No way! Hina's boyfriend's so awesome! Isn't he? Reen's boyfriend looks really smart. Is it true that that guy's a glasses beast? What does that mean? No way, my husband will be a pretty boy. It may not be like this for all girls, but at least at Jessica's school, the cultural festival was basically a boyfriend exhibition. Jessica didn't have a boyfriend. She had many friends of the opposite sex, but no special only one. But Jessica was a little famous around the school, and everyone thought it'd be natural for her to have a fitting partner. Furthermore, her pride had led her to pretend that this was true. Alright, good night, Vape. Have good sleep. You know what I mean. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Oh, and just for you, I will save again. There you go. Furthermore, her pride had led her to pretend that this was true. she'd somehow managed to keep them fooled until this year. But, for various reasons, she hadn't been able to escape this year's cultural festival. Jessie, is your boyfriend here? What? No, looks like he's not here yet. Maybe he's busy with work. So what kind of person is he, Jessie? At least give us a hint. What kind of relationship? What kind of relationship? Awesome, so he's a working man? Will he come in a suit? Of course he'll be wearing glasses, right? Yeah, I refuse, sorry. Hey, he actually doesn't exist, right? If you come clean now, we'll let you join us. Let's cry together through this year's cultural festival. No, he exists, he exists. I told you, he really exists. Jessica's bitter smile was covered with cold sweat. It was starting to seem doubtful whether she really had deceived her sharp-witted friends. Okay, then how about making a fake boyfriend and taking him with you? A fake? Who? I can't think of anyone who would do that. Shannon's ridiculous plan surprised Jessica into hysterics. Even so, it was probably more realistic than the crazy methods running through her head about getting a boyfriend and the big rush before the cultural festival. For example, what about Kano-kun? Kano-kun? No way, no way. Anyway, I'm sure Kano-kun is work on the day of the festival, and I don't want to bother him. Of course, I've already checked the schedule. Kano-kun has that day off. Why are you always so clever when it comes to stuff like this? No, wait. It'd be even worse if he's off. I can't pull him away from a precious day off just for my own vanity. If you don't pull Kano-kun away, he'll always be shut away by himself. So I think it'd be perfect if you could drag him out of his shell. You think so? No, but I feel bad for him. Then I guess you're out of options. How about meekly confessing to everyone that you don't have a boyfriend? True, it may be terribly embarrassing, but you'd only have to endure it for the short and yet long time before graduation. To a pair of lovers, there's no sweeter honey than the face of a single person with an inferiority complex. Shannon! You aren't really worrying for my sake, are you? You're teasing me, right? Jessica wrestled about with Shannon, her eyes teary. But Shannon was unfazed, laughing with her usual smile. Yes, this is to get you back for making fun of me and George-sama all the time. Listening to Shannon's comeback, the likes of which didn't happen even once a year, Jessica hugged her cushion and rolled around on her bed, pretending to faint in agony. She couldn't stand Shannon's smile, which looked so triumphant, but right now she was the only person Jessica could talk with. She could choke her to death with her cushion later. Is it really so bad, milady? It's a cultural festival, but it's also a chance for you to have fun with Kano-kun. That may be true, but... No. Jessica buried her head in her favorite pillow to hide the fact that her face had grown bright red. And she grumpily chewed her fingernail on her thumb. It really was a reaction to be appreciated. Shannon and Jessica were of about the same age, of the same sex, and friends. And they were both right in the middle of puberty. They could never talk enough about love. That's why they could talk freely about these topics to each other. So, Jessica had heard a lot about how Shannon and George's love was progressing, and Shannon had heard a lot about what type Jessica liked, what kind of man she might be interested in. Judging by Jessica's reaction, it'd probably be rude for us to go into precisely what these things were. However, this story won't get anywhere if we just have Jessica rolling around forever, so let's dive in. Jessica had been thinking about Kanon ever since she'd shown up. It was extremely rare for young men to visit Rokenjima. So maybe it was natural for Jessica, a girl in puberty, to develop an interest in Kanon. But if anyone said that, it would destroy the romantic ideals of a maiden's pure heart and love at first sight. Shannon had been with Kanon a long time at the orphanage, so she'd known him since before they started working. So Jessica had asked persistently about what his hobbies were, what his favorite food was, what type of girl he liked. Even to Shannon, it was clear that Jessica was infatuated with Kanon. Come on. Isn't this a good chance to take Kanon-kun on a date? But Kanon-kun might also have someone he likes, so wouldn't he take it badly if I made him go with me just to show off? People who aren't honest with themselves, like you are. What was that word I learned from George-sama? Ah, that's right, I think it was tsundora. Apparently, they'll be all the rage in a decade or so. Wow, George Nissan sure is incredible, managing to foresee future trends like that. Awesome. No, wait. Are you saying I'm living in the wrong decade? I give up. It took several days of wasted efforts, but in the end, Jessica agreed to the plan of having Kanon pretend to be her boyfriend. Yes, milady. Did you call me? Jessica regretted calling out at such a bad time. Kanon always looked sullen, but he had some bad days and some better days. Unfortunately, this reaction was the former. No, all that confidence and effort she'd built up practicing in front of a mirror all night was wiped out in about 5 seconds. Jessica turned bright red and hung her head. When he saw that, Kanon sighed. Jessica thought that he was exasperated with her, and her face went pale. I heard from Shannon. This is about having me go with you to the school cultural festival, right, milady? Huh? Nice one, Shannon. I mean, yeah. That's right, but, do you have any plans that day? I was strictly ordered by Shannon to work specially for you on that day, lady. I have never been to high school, so I don't really understand. But I hear it's a place where girls can be shamed if they don't have a boy with them. And I was given special orders to see to it that the daughter of the Ushiromiya family is in no way inferior to the common people. Shannon, I'll beat you to death later. Jessica kept yelling with a strange voice and a broken smile, like a tea kettle filled with boiling water. As Kanon watched this, he sighed again. Kanon wasn't an idiot either. He fully understood what Jessica intended by inviting him. But, to be honest, playing along with Jessica's love game seemed like it'd be nothing more than an annoyance to him. However, Shannon had asked him over and over. He was deeply indebted to her, so he couldn't refuse. And that brooch was in his pocket. Could this strange turn of events have been brought about by the magic power residing in this brooch? Ridiculous. But he remembered what Shannon had said to him that day. Could Shannon see something he couldn't? I don't understand Shannon's feelings. We are furniture. As if we could ever become anything more. It was a truly odd exchange between Jessica, who was still rambling on in a strange voice, and Connell, who sighed deeply. Jessie, someone's here. Didn't you hear? Sorry. Who is it? As my friends all gathered together, they were looking this way, with hard-to-describe expressions, whispering to each other in small voices that weren't small anymore. My attempt to play dumb felt pretty transparent, even to me. Did I really just say, sorry, who is it? Like I don't know who just showed up. It's useless, my mind's going blank. No way, that's Jessie's boyfriend? He's so cute. Wait, he's real? No way, seriously? Jessica, you traitor. He's incredible. He's younger? I never heard he was younger. Where's Jessie's boyfriend? She really is into little kids. Wow. Hey, aren't you late? I didn't know where the entrance was. I must apologize for my tardiness. Right, that outfit looks really good on you. Shannon said normal clothes wouldn't do, so we went and bought this the other day. Does it look strange on me? That's not true. Shannon, when I get back, I'll promote you to 2 levels. It feels like everyone here's a girl. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, isn't it? Come on, let's not hang around here. Let's go to the stage, okay? Because I'll be up pretty soon. Come on. Jessica seemed just as uncomfortable. It looked like being bathed in everyone's interested gazes was hard on her. When he saw Jessica's appearance, Conan thought he might have made things difficult for her by coming. I get the feeling I'm getting in the way. Am I being a burden? I told you, no way. Please tell me at any time if I start getting in the way. Kya, no way, he called himself Boku. There's no way you'd get in the way, Kano-kun. Yes, he calls her boyfriend Kun. What would you like me to do, milady? No way, she makes him call her milady like a butler. OMG. No, you can't call me milady today. Is that so? As you wish, Jessica-sama. Yeah, she trained him to call her Sama. I am in pain. Sorry, Kano-kun, could you close your eyes for just 3 seconds? Yeah, it's a kiss. She's gonna kiss him. As you wish. Bang. Look. Bam, bam. Slay up. Crash. By the time Conan opened his eyes, a horrible tragedy had occurred in the room. Everyone had been driven into the walls, their arms and legs outstretched. Jessica had slipped her brass knuckles back into her pocket before Conan's eyes opened. Anyway, let's go over to the stage. Our turn's coming up soon, so take a seat and wait for a bit. Because we've got to get ready. Go straight to the end here and you'll see a temporary stage. You'll know where to go. Please wait there. She pushed Conan's back, as he seemed to be having trouble moving himself, and chased him out. Even though Conan was confused by Jessica's attitude and her panicky state, which he'd never seen before, he followed her instructions and headed in the direction she had indicated. After seeing him off with an awkward smile, Jessica slammed the door shut and yelled loudly. There you go, you saw, right? You saw that, are you happy now? Sucks for you. I lost a bet. I'm sure Jessie didn't have a boyfriend. Are you sure that was her boyfriend? I'll bet she's just abusing one of her servants, right? Jessie's boyfriend is incredible. Shut up! Come on, let's get ready. When Jessica took the brass knuckles out of her pocket again, everyone energetically returned to their tasks. Kanon went down the corridor Jessica had shown him, and ran into a temporary stage set up where the vending machine should have been. It was probably being rented by the hour by some group or club. The ones singing were student groups, but the crowd was still incredibly excited. Disliking that chatter, that clatter even, he leaned against the wall in the darkness by himself. So, this is what they call high school. It sure is noisy. That's what Colin thought. Then he remembered Jessica just now, acting in a way that he'd never seen before. Honestly, she was in such high spirits that alcohol might have been involved. To him, remaining composed and intellectual at all times was the highest virtue. In that sense, it was very hard for Colin to get used to the atmosphere of a school cultural festival. He had a responsibility to report everything he saw and heard to the master. So, he also had to report about how Jessica had acted without restraint earlier. At the very least, it was not fitting for the daughter of the Ushinomiya head family. The master, Kraus-sama, and especially Natsuhi-sama, will probably be angry. If I am to report it in a way that protects Milady, should I blame it on inappropriate school friends? What was all that? So stupid. Kanon thought back on how Jessica had acted earlier, and sighed again. He could understand Natsuhi's headache a little now. Come to think of it, Natsuhi-sama, as the president of the PTA, was supposed to go to an informal gathering after attending the ceremony in the gymnasium. She said she wouldn't be able to see Milady's performance, didn't she? That's probably for the best. Crowds certainly are unpleasant. What in the world is going on? Several female students keep glancing at me. It seems they're all whispering the same things Milady's school friend said, and it's truly unpleasant. Come to think of it, didn't Shannon warn you? If you walk alone at something like a school festival, you'd better watch out, because lots of strange people will come and talk to you. Excuse me, are you by yourself? Just as expected, a group of girls I'd never met started talking to me. Their stares started to make my back tingle. Didn't she tell me some magic words that could chase them off in times like this? Sorry. I'm with someone. Oh, really? I'm sorry. It worked. Instant reaction. Well, that got rid of them, but it hasn't really changed the number of people staring at me. No, it's that kid. That's Jessie's boyfriend? No way. It's that kid? I can't believe it. I was sure he was fake. Isn't it cute? So he's younger? Lucky Jessie. There's no way I'll ever come to a place like this again. Caught inside for about the zillionth time that day. When he did, the lighting changed, and the standing audience started cheering. He looked around and realized that there was suddenly a large group of people there. And unlike earlier, they were mostly guys. With this huge crowd, he couldn't even see the stage. Fortunately, there was a fallen beer case nearby, so he tried using that as a footstool. When he did, he realized that there was now a new group on the stage. Their leader is Milady. She's changed into stage clothes, and she's even holding a guitar. I didn't know she could play. Then again, Maybe she can play. I've seen her practicing air guitar before. Natsuhi-sama wouldn't approve of any hobbies outside of study. Maybe she was always practicing in secret. Come to think of it, she's been returning really late from school recently, hasn't she? Maybe she's been practicing at school, far away from Natsuhi-sama's prying eyes. It really is for the best that Natsuhi-sama didn't come. If Milady were to get scolded by Natsuhi-sama after putting so many hours of practice in, she'd probably be dejected. Jessie-sama! Everyone, thanks for gathering here today. I could hear Jessica-sama's forceful voice through the speakers. Jessie-sama? Maybe that's her nickname at school. The students in the audience kept calling out that name. I'm a little offended by that crude name. It's inappropriate for Milady. Jessica-sama was in high spirits as they kept shouting Jessie-sama. Everyone here was probably a fan. Her mic performance picked up on that and electrified them even more. It was almost like a music program on TV. At first, he thought this was all silly, but that feeling had changed into appreciation. It was incredible in its own way. Kanon never listened to music of his own free will, but he'd often heard the kind of music the Ushiromiya family liked. Since it was almost all classical, Kanon had naturally taken a liking to that kind of music. So, to Kanon, the song Jessica sang was, how should you say it, extremely colorful. In any case, if Natsuhi-sama heard it, she'd probably faint. I must not go along with it, but at any rate, Milady is full of life and looks like she's having a great time. As I watched Milady enjoying herself, I thought, could this be Ushiromiya Jessica's true nature? Don't I know better than anyone that during her life on Dokujima, she's had no choice but to kill her sense of self? So the time she spends, not as Milady, successor to the Ushiromiya family, but as a single girl called Jessica, living life to the fullest, must be very important to her. I've worked close to Milady, seeing her in all seasons, and I thought I knew everything about her. but that was all limited to one side of her, the milady of Rokajima. We are furniture. We serve on Rokajima and end our lives on Rokajima. So I've come to think of Rokajima itself as our whole world. As though, like in Ptolemaic theory, the oceans spilled off the end of the world into an abyss. But when I look at Milady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. I still can't go along with the excitement of the crowd, but I feel like I can see something that cannot be seen on Rokajima. I'm not sure if this is the unseeable thing Shannon was talking about, but the ocean still doesn't look blue to me. Wasn't the cultural festival at Jessica's school today? How was the principal doing? He seemed to be in good health. That's right, diet member Takamiya was also there. He said to give you his regards. Busy as usual? It appeared so. That person is also very energetic. Oh, and I believe President Emoto also made an appearance. Naturally, the topic of Jessica's cultural festival came up at dinner. School events often became social gatherings for local volunteers. It was the same for the Ushiramiya family, who were celebrities around here. Natsuhi remembered the name of one VIP after another at that social gathering, telling Krause the news about them. Jessica didn't really have any interest in that discussion and rudely slurped her pumpkin soup. Milady, perhaps you ought to take more care with your manners. Yeah, sorry about that. Jessica, how many times must I tell you to watch your language? Yes, ma'am. Jessica answered, discouraged. When he saw that, Krause smiled a little and paused his conversation with Natsuhi. That was... Rewinding, starting over. How was the festival for you, Jessica? Too many S's in that sentence. Huh? Well, it was okay. I was watching. You did an excellent job. Well... Jessica's face turned bright red. She probably hadn't imagined that Natsuhi would actually come to see her on stage. She felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment. Actually, she hadn't really wanted her mother to watch, since she didn't want to be told that her music was inappropriate for the Ushiramiya family. But it certainly didn't make her unhappy to hear her parents say she'd done a good job, after watching her try her best. Jessica acted with both composure and dignity, fitting behavior for the student's representative. Oh. Yeah. The smile that had been there until a second ago crumbled like sand. Jessica immediately realized that her mom was talking about something different. Jessica was also the school student president. She had no interest in doing something so annoying, but her parents had been pushy, so she grudgingly accepted. Unfortunately, she was popular at school, so she won the election easily. So, Natsuhi was praising her for the student council sponsorship ceremony at the beginning of the cultural festival. Actually, she had just carried that out half-heartedly. After that, she immediately met up with her friends and held a stage rehearsal for the rest of the time. That experience of standing above people and bearing responsibility will surely prove useful in the future. I'm sure it will help Jessica mature as a member of the Ushiromiya family. But you rushed a little while giving the greeting. You get a pass on content, but the fast pace of your speech lessened the impact. It might help if you developed a habit of pausing every once in a while. Yeah. After she finished eating, Jessica didn't feel like going straight to her room. Her room was basically the place her parents had ordered her to be. So perhaps for Jessica, instead of returning to her own room, being in an unknown location in this large mansion was a meager form of resistance. Jessica felt that even being in the mansion made it hard to breathe, so she went outside to the rose garden. Well, even if she did show up, I'm sure she would have said something about how it wasn't appropriate for a successor of the Ushiromiya family. So isn't it better this way? Jessica laughed at what she was sulking over. She laughed at what kind of words she could possibly have been expecting. That was dumb of me. In the end, I was just acting like an entitled brat. I'm a little exasperated with myself, and it makes me want to laugh. Milady. Come on, don't scare me like that. Just as she was about to force a laugh, Kana suddenly started talking to her, and she choked. What's up? Got something to say? Yes? Jessica's expression became the one she always wore when looking at Kana. The listless Jessica from a second ago was gone. If he had still only known Jessica as the eventual successor to the Ushiromiya family as he had until yesterday, he might have mistakenly thought that Jessica's mood had sprung back to normal. But that wasn't right. He now knew a part of her that he couldn't have seen until yesterday. So he understood that there was no way Jessica actually felt the way she appeared. About today's cultural festival, well, thanks for coming with me so I could show off. You saved my butt out there. That song, you were really good. Huh? Really? You're embarrassing me. Even though she had heard the words she most wanted to hear, Jessica acted shyly and couldn't accept them openly. I cannot sing, and I don't know how to play any instruments other than the harmonica and the recorder, which I learned in elementary school. So I simply assumed you were the same lady. At the time, Connell had never felt as though he'd been looking down on Jessica in this way. But all the people he'd seen playing special instruments were on the other side of the brown tubes in the TV. At the very least, he'd been under the impression that it'd be impossible for Jessica. I'm furniture, so I didn't believe there was any need to sing or play instruments. But I'm not sure anymore. Seriously, Kamakun, enough with that I'm furniture business. That's like a proper attitude your servants are supposed to have, right? Servants are supposed to be like living furniture. Genji said it a lot. It isn't just a proper attitude, because we really are furniture. I know the kids from the Fukurin house receive assistance from grandfather in various ways, and I realize how grateful you are for that. But it's a bit cruel for you to have to call yourself furniture just because of that. We're all human, aren't we? Kono-kun, when you saw me singing, what did you think? It looked like you were having a lot of fun. I don't think that's true. Huh? You didn't just think it looked fun. You were envious, weren't you? That's not... Kanon probably hadn't noticed that emotion himself. Most likely, Kanon saw something he'd never seen before, learned about it for the first time, and felt envious. And to trick himself out of that emotion, he'd call himself furniture, over and over. I know I'm a successor to the Ishidamiya family or whatever, and, well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of annoying stuff to do from now on. As far as that goes, I can't do anything but give up, since I was born under an unlucky star. Probably just like you had to live at the Fukuin house, I don't have a choice either. I couldn't choose the stars under which I was born. That may be true. But there's one place where you and I are completely different. You know what that is? I'm furniture and Milady's not. He was about to say that, but stopped. I don't know. Kanon-kun, you decided that your fate determines everything about you, and you gave up. But I can't accept this kind of fate, so I do the best I can. So, while there's still the rigid and cornered me that's gotta stay as the daughter of the Ishidamiya family, I've created another me that can do what I like to the fullest. Another you. Yeah. Kanon-kun, you've been instructed to say, because I am furniture. I'm sure you've gone through a lot of tough times just because of that. I think that's really unfortunate. But the idea that your entire life will be decided by that alone just seems sad to me. You know, it's always possible for people to create another self inside them, a self they can truly grow to like. I'm not talking about escaping from reality, okay? When I'm that other self, I can really feel like I'm living a great life. So no matter how constrained and boring everyday life gets to be, I can always live on without suffocating. To make another self inside yourself that you can truly grow to like. To make another me, one that isn't furniture. Through her relationship with George-sama, has Shannon given birth to another self that isn't furniture? And did this other Shannon see something that cannot be seen by furniture? That's right. Well, I don't know anything about your private life, Kanon-kun, but I can sort of guess. Your private life probably doesn't exist at all. Am I right? Kanon couldn't reply, but that was answer enough. He had no concept of her private life. So Kanon would always be Kanon. So furniture would always be furniture. Kanon-kun, Kanon isn't your real name, right? In the Fukuin house, new graduates would be given new families and a new life, so they were also given a new name. In his case, that was Kanon. Certainly, this name of mine may be a temporary thing. Before, he had thought of himself as Kanon and no one else. But he remembered. There had definitely been another self that wasn't Kanon. But that was far, far away, beyond the distant fog of oblivion. So even for you, it should be okay to have times when you're Kanon-kun and sometimes when you aren't. Maybe when you act as a servant, that Kanon-kun calls himself furniture and strictly limits his own will. But when you aren't Kanon-kun, I think it's okay to live much, much more freely. Those words definitely weren't just lip service. Jessica had also been like this in the past. She had cursed her own birth into an environment different from all of her friends at school. Only she had been in a heavily constricted environment, forced to learn all sorts of things. And she had even been told whom she was and wasn't allowed to play with. It may have been sad, but she'd given up, resigning herself to the fact that she'd been born under that kind of star. But one day, Jessica stopped giving up and surrendering. Stuff like Ushiromiya family customs and pressure didn't matter. She created a real Jessica inside herself, one who could do what she really wanted to do. You know, I go by the nickname Jessie at school. When I'm Jessie, I live life honestly and to the fullest. And because of that, I can do my best when I'm Jessica too. Would it really be so bad if you could also have times when you're Kanon and times when you're your real name? When you aren't Kanon, can't you try becoming another self that you can like? A time when I am not Kanon. He'd once thought of his real name as being completely meaningless. Because of that, he thought that Kanon summed up everything about him. And now, Jessica was telling him to create something new, another self that wasn't Kanon. Kanon-kun, if you don't mind, tell me, what's your real name? He was silent for quite some time. Maybe Kanon's real name had risen to the tip of his tongue. After hesitating for a long time over whether he should say it, in the end, he swallowed it back down. I forgot. My name doesn't matter anymore. Those words contained a faint rejection. No matter what kind of real name I had, the only truth now is that here I am Kanon. The past has nothing to do with anything. The materials with which furniture is made, be it a trunk of a tree or otherwise, are meaningless in the end. I told you to stop that. You aren't furniture, you're human, right? I'm not human. Kanon clearly voiced his refusal. It was with a rage that he normally didn't show. Jessica couldn't say anything back and was struck silent. You are human, milady, so you are free to live any way you please, and any kind of future is possible for you. It's almost like you have wings and can dance through the sky like a bird. But I am not like that. Even if I looked like a bird, I'd be nothing more than a domestic duck. Even though they have wings, they cannot fly. To speak to me of that dream in the sky despite that, it's just too cruel. Furniture and ducks? What the hell is all this? No. Jessica had unconsciously gone along with Kanon's forceful manner of speaking, but she realized that she shouldn't fire back and swallowed her words. I don't know anything about you. I don't even know your upbringing, and I don't know the hardships you've been through, so I can't even imagine why you started calling yourself furniture. But know this. You aren't furniture or a duck. You're a real human. If you want to say Kanon-kun's furniture when he's working as a servant, that's fine. But in that case, don't you think you can create a self for when you aren't furniture, for when you're human? Only a human like Milady can embrace that possibility. I am not like that. I have no future, no possibilities, no dream that I am allowed to see. So, Milady, please don't say any more cruel things. Why do you say stuff like that? Because it seems you mistakenly think I'm a human, the same as you, milady. We are different sorts of beings. I just wanted to make that clear. I heard from Shannon something about milady liking me. No, I look almost identical to a human, so Like Shannon, I could probably delude myself into thinking I'm human, pretend to love for a time. But then I would surely be fooling myself. No, I would be fooling you too, milady. Shannon and George-sama will definitely fall apart. Even though Shannon herself probably realizes that day will come, she's taking part in such a stupid... There's nothing stupid about it. Sure, George Nissan's a wonderful person and he's got to match up to his parents' expectations. I'm sure when it comes to marriage, Aunt Ava will interfere in various ways, and I think their future prospects look like they'll be full of trouble, okay? But you know what? George Nissan is the kind of guy who will surrender to that shit. Shannon's no Juliet, and he'll definitely bring her happiness. People cannot engage in romance with furniture. What I'm trying to say is that even if you can love furniture, I cannot love you, milady. Those words of Connell's crushed all of Jessica's bittersweet feelings from that day. There was no way her emotions could have predicted that she'd be refused so bluntly. In an instant, she lost the willpower that had led her to try and unravel something stubborn in Connell's heart. And before she knew it, she was just standing there in shock. Milady, if your feelings for me were due to my conceit, then I must ask that you forgive me. I won't deny that. Thank you very much. Huh? Thank you very much for thinking of me as a human. Those feelings alone really do make me happy. Anything more would be too cruel for me, so... No, I've said enough. Sorry about that. Jessica recklessly scratched at her head and spoke, trying to force her voice to sound bright. I just kinda... I ran on ahead by myself, and was a burden on you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble on your precious day off. No, I was also happy that I could see you having fun. Then let's call it a night. If I don't go back to my room and turn off the lights, Mom will get mad at me again. That's probably for the best. I wish you a good night, milady. Yeah, good night. Colin saw Jessica trot away with her back to him, looking disheartened. But then she suddenly broke into a reckless dash and disappeared in the direction of the mansion. As he watched her back for just an instant, Conan was tormented by the feeling that he just made a huge mistake. But he hadn't made a mistake at all. He'd been forced to refuse her now for her sake, while his pain was still at its smallest. Nice going, making a woman cry like that. I didn't expect you to refuse her that strongly. If you'd given a normal answer, another pair of lovers would have been born thanks to my magic. How long have you been there? What a horrible person. When he turned around, the witch was suddenly there. It looked like she'd been there the whole time, watching the two of them as though enjoying a play. I shall forgive you for your insults just this once, in deference to that amusing old show. Even after 1,000 years, no more interesting showings exist than complications between boys and girls. To me, it's a pleasure that's better and more addictive than opium. Kanon pulled the butterfly brooch out of his pocket. It was the manifestation of the great magic the witch had bestowed. Without hesitation, Kanon slammed it against the ground and stomped on it. What is the meaning of this? You know that was given by me. Just now, I figured it out. What you're doing isn't as tasteful as being a cupid of love. You're just a human who enjoys showing love to those who can never be together, deceiving them. You are free to think that. Most humans I lend my power to say the same thing. Don't play dumb. You didn't lend Shannon your power because you felt sorry for her. You found a weak point in Shannon's heart as her chest burned with love, and you made her break the mirror that sealed you. What's more, you guessed how this would all end, and now you're toying with her. Am I wrong? Furniture has a thoroughly pitiful existence. So, you have no dreams, no future, even no love? Good. Good. There is nothing better than knowing your place. As you noticed, there is a faint love residing in Jessica's heart. You seem to think you snipped it in the bud. But did you know? Trees grow thicker branches if you thin out and prune them. A girl who loves furniture, is it? Amusing. How truly amusing. Shannon and George will also eventually reach a stalemate with their unfulfillable love, ripening into the sort of large fruit I love. However, regretfully, it seems to be going so smoothly for those two that it's hardly entertaining anymore. But on the plus side, it seems the two of you will amuse me to no end. The witch laughed. Even though she had known the two could never be together, she had lent magic to bring them together. However, they couldn't escape the fate that prevented them from ever being truly joined. The witch knew that. Even if they were joined, Shannon and George, Common and Jessica would eventually break up. They would wander through an endless desert in this hell of love, tormented by an eternal thirst. What, did you think I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in exchange? I'll gladly assist a pair in love, and in exchange, I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate they'll eventually meet. I have never come across a better show, not over the course of 1,000 years. Just look at Kinzo. See how he ended up, an old, pitiful man who learned the taste of love before being thrown out of paradise. Look at how he lives, like a dead man that cannot fully die. You truly are a witch. Disappear. Get out of my sight, demon. Oh, I would disappear even without your prompting. My power still hasn't returned. It is still tiring to continue showing myself. I overdid it when I gave you lovers my power. As I am now, it will not be easy to maintain that power without that brooch as a catalyst. Panam ground his foot even more into the stomp brooch. He felt it break under his foot. Then, it evaporated like water, and changed into butterflies that sparkled gold, fluttering out from beneath Khan's foot. Maintaining this form is quite painful for me as well. I will hide myself for a time, just as you desire. My magical power will rise as surely as the moon and the tides, and eventually, a fitting time will come for my revival. I know not in the slightest whether that will be tomorrow, next year, or even 100 or 1,000 years into the future. But as long as there are those who entertain me, I will surely gain power and revive. I will disappear for a short while, until that time comes. The bruise on the palm of your hand is already gone, so, if you wish, tomorrow morning, you can let my existence vanish like an illusion or a dream. After all, nothing saddens me more than being forgotten. However, I will surely be revived. Be on your guard, so that you will not regret the days coming when it arrives. I will surely have my second coming and rule over everything as this island's true master. That is the time when the door to the Golden Land will be opened again. The greedy dead will surely wake me. You talk too much. Disappear now, Golden Witch. The witch became a cloud of gold butterflies and scattered away, leaving behind a scornful laugh. The whole area sparkled like a gold blizzard in a snow globe. It was a fleeting, fantastical scene that disappeared in a heartbeat. The witch could no longer be seen. However, Kanon felt like he could still hear that shrill, unpleasant laugh. How amusing, how truly amusing. Why is the human world still so amusing after all the years I've been away? Go mad with love, go mad with gold. Those who don't go mad from one of the two are not human. I see. So that's why the word furniture is so fitting. Furniture is created to serve humans. And I cruelly treat humans as playthings to sate my 1,000 years of boredom. What a truly amusing three-way deadlock, that I cannot control furniture. Kinzo, you fool. What a truly entertaining scheme you've worked out. Furniture, you fools, just you try and see if you can fell me. Tonight, 2 seeds of love have been sown. Including the one already sown, that makes 3. Beatrice, why did you leave me alone in this painful world? I hate you. I will hate you for all eternity for not even trying to answer, despite being yearned for so. Master, drinking any more will be damaging to your health. Dr. Nanja warned you as well, did he not? Be silent, Genji. You do not understand. You do not understand my grief and sadness. And I believed at least you, my oldest friend, would understand my pain. Why can you not understand? Oh, Beatrice. Why did you leave me all alone? Crying noises. What the hell do you mean, furniture? I don't get it. Oh, poor Jessica-sama. Even though the cries I hear coming from your room tell me of the situation, there's nothing I can do. This is all a tragedy due to a pair who are too young, getting too close, when the positions of their birth are too distant. I could do nothing but understand Milady's feelings, hide my footsteps, and quietly walk away. What do you mean by that, George-san? I meant what I said. I still haven't built up my castle. Once I manage to do that, I'll finally be able to think of myself as an adult. When that happens, I want to marry you. That's, but my heart won't let me do that anymore. So I want to give you an engagement ring. Engagement? You say, but, I am furniture. Oh, right, that. Well then, furniture has to listen to what people say, right? Right now, I'm having a ring made that'll be fitting for you. I think it'll be ready in time for me to bring it to the upcoming family conference. I'll give it to you then, so please, I want you to let me hear your answer. If you accept, then I'll proclaim our engagement right there, in front of all the relatives including grandfather. George-san, I'm sure some people won't approve of our relationship, but there's no need to look at their faces, because you only have to fill your eyes with me. I will definitely bring you happiness. That's the one thing I can promise you with certainty. I just can't wait to see how it will ripen. The gold butterflies do not swoop upon the juice of overripened rotting fruit. I cannot wait for the day of harvest to come. Is the time of the banquet here yet? The first day, October 4th, 1986. I think it would be a good place to stop here. Because this puts us back on sort of like basically where episode 1 starts, right? The 4th of October, which is a very important date to this game, this whole story. And I think that'll give us a good starting point for next time, and then we kind of get into some stuff. I won't spoil it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. Let me just set up my end screen. There we go. As always, thank you so much for watching, whether you're lurking or in the chat or watching the VOD. Hi. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. We've just been doing these every week so far. I haven't missed a single one, I don't think, so that's great. So, hopefully see you next week, and have a good one. I don't know. I'm always really bad at the outros, but that's okay. Yeah, next time we're really gonna get into like the thick of it with the story, and it's gonna be awesome. This is one of my favorite episodes. The second one, they're all really good, so you know, can't go wrong really. But yeah, we're in for a really interesting, fun, and occasionally upsetting ride. So I don't know, just glad you're all over here with me. Have a great night, and see you all again soon, I hope.